It's Jim Csek. You're watching Kelowna Now. I'm here with Tania Gustafson from Fit Nutrition, and we're doing our next show in her series
Yep.
and
We're talking about habits today.
habits. I like habits. Yeah.
Habits.
Good habits are better than bad habits.
They are.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to create, habits that stick because, we're in the spring right now, and usually about this time, or even maybe like last month-ish, we might even be a bit late on this, but people who made those New Year's resolutions trying to create those good habits, they've kind of fallen by the wayside. And no judgment here. Like I'm just saying, most people, if they've made a resolution around health or weight loss or anything like that, it usually involved A, dieting, or B, going to the gym, or both.
Yeah, I noticed usually in the gym, there's a lot of people in January.
Right? It's super busy and then it kind of slows down.
Not so much later. I'm just like, okay, so when are you done?
Right? Because you want your bench back, right? I know. But it kind of ebbs and flows like that, right? But really, the statistics say that less than 1% of people can maintain a diet. Number one, they're unreasonable. But number two, it's trying to introduce something different into your life that wasn't there. Right?
Yeah.
It's not a
dieting
habit.
a few times in my life and it doesn't work for me. I mean, I don't know, maybe for other people. But.
No, it doesn't work for anybody. So you want to have a lifestyle that you can do, but putting those things in little bits at a time. So there's a 1% principle, which we'll talk about, and how that can create habits that then stick. Because remember that show, The Biggest Loser?
I don't watch a lot of TV, so I'm
right.
going to go, no.
Okay. It was kind of like out there everywhere. I don't watch a lot of TV either.
That's one of my habits, not to watch.
There you go. I'll purposely watch something or a podcast or whatever, something else. But there was a show, The Biggest Loser, and it was on for several seasons. And it was people, who were obese and they were trying to get healthy, and so they would all get together. It's kind of like like a reality show where they would have trainers and they would do healthy things and challenges and whatever, and the trainers actually taught them proper how to eat really whole foods and all the kinds of things and put them through good workouts and stuff, but they did it in a utopian environment, right? They're in this very controlled this little bubble, so that
with lots of help.
Support. And we all need that. But there wasn't any of that when they now went home. So they had to try and figure out, how do I transfer all of this knowledge and all of the activities and all of the things back into my life when I get home with my spouse and my kids and my dog and my work and my housework and all the things, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't actually go there. They just taught them how to do it over here. And so then they had all of these things to have to plop into their life. And now it's like, it's like dumping the Lego bucket out onto the floor, looking for that tiny Lego head piece. Remember, you're trying to help your kids find that? Yeah, it's like that.
It's hard to do, to add habits and rituals, for sure, especially if they require work. It's hard to add that to your life.
It is. And so that's why I want to try and make it a little bit easier for people.
Okay.
So thinking about, instead of adding all of those things in, because by the way, all of those people who did The Biggest Loser, I had heard that 2 out of all of them, out of all the seasons, were able to maintain their results. Only 2.
One of my habits was not to watch any reality TV.
Yeah. And that's probably very wise.
And I stuck with it.
Yeah, there you go, right? If you don't start it, it's not going to be a habit for you to click it on and just mindlessly watch. And there's no judgment for people who watch them. It was just kind of an example because people kind of recognize that,
people can
right?
Pick and choose what they want to watch.
Exactly. And that's kind of a well-known thing. That's why I put that out there. But it just goes to show that if you're trying to put too many things in at once, number one, it's really, really hard, and very, very few people can do it.
Yeah.
I would bet that the 2 people that were, somewhat successful probably were single people who didn't have a lot of other people they had to work around when they went back home.
Yeah.
It just.
I mean, I can relate to that. If I've tried, over the years, I've bought personal workout stuff at home. Never used it. Do you know what I mean? Like you'd use it for a week or 2, and then then all of a sudden you're hanging clothes on it and you're doing different things with it.
Totally. I prefer to go to the gym.
So going to the gym is a more controlled environment, right? Because all the equipment there is workout equipment, and you're there for a purpose. So I find that is kind of like my controlled environment, right?
Yes.
As opposed to at home where I have all these distractions.
Right. And do you always do your workout at the same time, pretty much?
5 a.m.
There you go. And you that's your ritual. You do that, and then you do whatever you do and get to work and all. Like everything's kind of in line, right?
Yeah. Habits and rituals.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a big part of my life. And I would say that I'm a very lazy person, and I beat that laziness down because I use that as a way to kind of like make sure that I'm not lazy.
Perfect. That's absolutely right. And humans are inherently lazy. Like we always try to
it's
get
just
the easiest way around. It is
of our beast or whatever it is, because you eat, sleep, and
Yeah.
Go find some more food.
Right, pretty much. So trying to get those other things in. And you're right, habits and rituals, or I call them patterns. So habits create patterns. Patterns create brain grooves. If you've ever, I follow Dr. Caroline Leaf, and she talks about brain grooves. And so if you think about, you're pulling a wagon and through the mud kind of thing, there's a soft ground, and it makes a little groove, and you go back and forth because you're doing yard work and you're doing the same thing back and forth. You picture this thing. It's kind of like a habit. You're going back and forth doing the same thing. You create a little groove, a path.
Yep.
And if you keep going along that path, it's pretty easy. Now the sun comes out, it dries it, it becomes hard. You've got like a little channel, little track.
Sure.
It's really easy to push that wheelbarrow up and down that track, no problem. Oh, now you need to go to the other side of the yard. You need to change habits. You have to like haul it out of there. And now if you get too close to that track, it sucks it back in. You've got to like make a whole new track. So you have to push it back and forth long enough that it rains,
an old saying, right?
the ground gets soft.
The easiest road to hoe is the one that's well worn.
Yes, right? And so you got to make a new worn path. And so you have to go over it enough so that it rains, the ground gets soft, it digs a little dent in there, and it gets hard, and now you're stuck in that new groove, stuck in the new brain groove. And so thinking about, instead of dumping all of those things in being an all-in person and saying, I'm just going to do it, that's it, I'm pushing everything else aside and I'm going to get her done, that only works for a finite period of time, because you really can't, last that long. You can't do that many things all at once, and that's why people fall off with their New Year's resolutions. And I'm not a big resolution fan for that reason. So adding things in at 1%, where you're thinking that, I believe that everybody can do 1% better today for their health than they did yesterday. 1%. Right? If you're not really a water drinker, and we know that, most of our body's made of water, guys should be drinking 3 to 4 liters a day. Women should be drinking about 2 to 3 liters a day. And if you're drinking like 1 cup of water a day, well, I'm not going to tell you.
But isn't it that you could get water from other sources though too, instead of just like drinking water?
Yeah, but it's really hard to measure that. So you should be like actually purposefully hydrating 2 to 3 liters a day, generally, as a good rule of thumb. So if you're not doing that, then think about, where can I add 1 glass of water today?
I've also watched where people have said, like, some people on YouTube or whatever, and they're saying that just drink when you're thirsty though.
The other thing is, when you get thirsty, by the time you're thirsty, you're already getting dehydrated. And like food, our body will shut off certain signals if we're ignoring it. So if we've done the ignore thing a few times, body's like, well, they're not dying, so meh. Being dehydrated not to an extreme point, but to a point of just, your skin is dry, your joints are maybe a little creaky.
So just a word of caution though to people, like if you're not used to drinking a lot of water, I think you should probably talk to your doctor before you embark on how many liters a day? Oh,
you would have to drink a lot before there's water toxicity. Your kidneys can actually handle about a liter every half an hour, and that would be really extreme. Like, nobody's going to do that. So it's very safe to drink 2 to 3 to 4 liters of water a day. I think that's a milk jug is 4 liters, right? So if you're out in the sunshine and you're working in the yard, you're going to go through that in nobody's business, right? And it's just, and again, if you're out in the sun, you're going to need some more. If you're, in the shade all day and whatever, you're probably going to need less. My point was just that if you're truly not a water drinker,
I'm not.
And here's another rule of thumb: your water should be the most liquid that you're drinking in a day, as opposed to everything else.
I only drink water, or bubbly water.
Bubbly water, yeah. So drinking water as opposed to coffee, or more water than coffee, more water than alcohol, more water than, fill in the blank, juice or whatever, right? So thinking about drinking more water. And if that's not you at the moment, well, how do you create that extra habit? Okay, well, I'm going to have a glass of water before I have my juice, or before I have my coffee, or before. So now you're pairing it with that. There's your 1%, right? 1% today, I'm just drinking an extra glass of water. And now the habit stacking that we're going to bring in, I'm pairing it with when I have my cup of coffee. I'm going to just put my glass next to my coffee pot so that while the coffee's running through, I'll have my glass of water. Done. 1%. I'm good. See, so that's something that you can pair really, really easily. And then going to the gym, or getting out and exercising, whatever works for you. So maybe as you're driving home from work, you're thinking, how do I get that workout in? I don't know. How do I get it in? Park in the driveway. Don't go in the house yet. Walk down to the end of the street and back, or around the block quickly and come in. Then grab your stuff and go inside, right? You've already come on the way home. And if you just go, wait, I'm not going in yet, it's kind of like on my way home, right?
Yeah.
So you can fit these things in. And when you do that, it's gonna pair them together. It's going to help make them stick. It's like having an extra pair of hands hold that wheelbarrow in on the ground, helping to push it into the next little trough, right?
When I first started working out in Kelowna, definitely the Y. I went to the Rutland Y.
Okay. Me too. I was there for 35 years.
And I used the pool as my reward. Workout and then the pool.
Yes.
Right? Because it was just like you can't go work out. You can't go to the pool until you do your workout.
Until you work out, yeah.
And then when they opened H2O, I went there for a number of years, right?
Yep.
And that pool was, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But it ended up sucking away from my workouts, though, because my workouts got shorter and shorter. The pool got longer and longer.
So then I guess you'd have to put a little bit of a caveat on there. If you wanted your workout to be a certain amount of time, it's like, I can go in the pool as long as I get X number of minutes in, right? And then you've kind of made that little contract with yourself. And that's another way to do that too. But again, pairing them, like you've already got the time set in. So where you do your workout probably isn't as big of a deal as when you do your workout.
I can tell, though, that the pool thing was so refreshing. It just kind of cleansed you for the day. Do you know what I mean? Like, just like kind of like just set your mind straight. Like,
yeah.
That's why the pool became such a big component for me, right? So, and then when we moved into this building, there was a workout place downstairs, so the pool got cut completely.
Oh,
my workouts got longer.
Oh, well, hey, there you go. And so, do you feel better, or do you find that you missed something?
Well, I definitely missed the pool.
Okay.
But my workouts are now a lot longer.
Yeah.
And it shows in what I do. So
yeah,
it's definitely. I think the pool kind of was, for me, I think it was mentally really good, but I think it was definitely. Because if you're tired, you're just like, oh, that pool's waiting for me. Right. So the pool's amazing in both places. Like I learned to swim in the Rutland Y. So great.
There you go. Cool. Yeah.
So again, habits and rituals. That's a great habit, though, right? So
yep. No, absolutely.
Habits and rituals, and if you can build more good habits, like you're saying, than bad habits like smoking, drinking, and vaping or whatever.
All those things. Yes.
A lot of TV, binge eating ice cream.
Another one that takes a lot of time out of everyone's day is your phone. Right? The apps, the social media, the checking the email, all the things. And I highly recommend that you do not have it in your room, like no technology in your room. If you have to buy an old alarm clock, like I've set
get it
mine
to go quiet. I think at 8:00, like it goes into nighttime mode.
Like it goes into
So then it
do not disturb
I think
mode
there's
or whatever.
It allows certain people to call like for an emergency, but other than that, it's like text messages just don't even show up and stuff like that till the morning. And I also try, like for myself, one of the habits I try to do is not to enter into discussions that are stressful before I go to bed.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's nothing I can do in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? Like if it's a work related matter or whatever, I don't even want to hear it. Right? Like I'm not going to be able to do anything about it till tomorrow anyway. So why put that on yourself just before you go to sleep? That is
a really great point, because it really doesn't help you sleep. It really keeps you up. Right. Your mind won't shut down.
Your mind starts racing. You're running through all the scenarios and all that stuff. So like definitely and I would say working out in the morning helps with mental refreshment or clarity. It actually cleanses you as well for the day. And I think that's a really good way to start building back even confidence. Or if you've gone through some type of, traumatic relationship or something and you need confidence back or whatever, working out will release some of that stress.
It does. It gets the endorphins
start
going.
Building your confidence back.
You do. And you feel a sense of accomplishment, right? It's like, okay, I committed to doing this. I showed up. I did that. Yeah. I feel really good. I even I stayed a couple of minutes longer. Yay, me. Like you kind of, you get that little cheer yourself inside, right?
Say the caution to people though is like, if you've never worked out before, or if you're not used to drinking a lot of water, you should go see your doctor, tell them what you're going to do, right? Because maybe like some people go there and they don't know how to use equipment.
Yes.
And they hurt themselves and they herniate a disc or whatever it is.
Get a trainer, hire a trainer, somebody who knows what they're doing.
Or go to the, local Y or whatever.
Yeah, you can talk to the people there. They have trainers,
Yeah, they have people you don't have to pay, right? Right. And you can say, how do I use this machine, right? Or they'll be watching and they'll say, hey, not like that.
No, yes, I know. And yes.
So it is definitely, if you're making that change in your life, and especially if you've never done it before.
Right. Just go slow. Again, with the 1%.
Right? Yeah. Otherwise, if you go and work out and just like you're so sore, you can't even move the next day.
Yeah, that's not going to help you create a healthy habit. It's going to you're going to get.
Well, you don't want to go and get it.
Right? It's going to take you 3 or 4 days before you can move again.
A little bit.
Before you want to go.
Like you're saying 1%. So like go do a workout. Maybe it's 10 minutes the first time.
That's right.
Maybe next week it's 11. And,
right.
you know,
No, absolutely. Because
so.
if you haven't done anything at all, so we're talking baseline people, like there's one where you've done nothing for years, and there's 10 where you've done something every day all the time. And if you're you know, somewhere less of 5, when you start something, you want to do that incremental, little bits at a time, again with the 1%. And then if you think that you can, you know, go all out, just back it up.
Unless it's golf. Like if you want,
if
you're going into golf,
you can still hurt yourself with a violent swing.
36 holes a day. Easy. I'm kidding. That's a joke.
I don't know. I've tried
something
golf.
I want to do.
I've tried golf, and I don't think it should take 3 hours to do 9 holes. I'm just saying.
3 hours? Yeah, no.
3.5. No.
No, a 9 holes should be an hour and a half.
Oh. But I didn't lose any balls in the water.
No.
So I thought that was at
winning.
least a win.
Winning.
Right? Yeah. I don't understand. I'm not a golfer, as you can tell. It.
I used to hate it. Love it now.
Oh, okay.
So
well, maybe I just didn't have it done.
I think the right time of your life. Right?
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's just like I just didn't have the patience for it before, right? Because I'm thinking 5 hours walking around, that seems stupid. Now I'm just like, oh my God, it's so relaxing.
Yeah, I was going to say, now it's probably you're finding it relaxing. Maybe just kind of your focus shifts a little bit, right?
Find your zen.
Find your zen.
Whether that's hiking, biking, walking, golfing.
Right.
Fishing.
I zen when I walk my dog. I get back from the gym and I walk my dog. There's this lovely little path that's all the hills and the quiet and the water. It's very nice.
Find your zen. And then start building good habits.
That's right. Around that. So if you have a good morning routine, here's a good way to get your habits in too. So starting with your morning routine, and everybody has habits that they normally do, but they don't even think about it. Right? Like if you there's very seldom a time that you're probably going to forget to brush your teeth.
Right.
Right. It's a habit, and we don't even realize we did it. Sometimes I've done this.
You can tell people that don't.
I'd be like, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, did I brush my teeth? I go back to the bathroom, the toothbrush is wet. I mean, because it's so automatic. You just do it, right? Yeah. And the same like driving to work. You could be preoccupied. You get to work and you go, oh shoot, I don't even really remember turning, but I'm here.
Well, you have a Tesla. You don't have to drive.
Yeah, no, before my Tesla, I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, right, because it's so automatic, we have these habits of all the things we're doing, right? What we do when we get up in the morning. I get up at a certain time every day without my alarm. It's just, within about 20 minutes. That's just when I wake up. And then I brush my teeth. I get dressed for the gym.
We go into autopilot a lot.
Yeah, that's the autopilot. So if you can pair something that you want to do new with an autopilot habit, it's going to attach to that brain groove, and then it's going to become so much easier for you.
I was backing up in a car. I used somebody else's car.
Okay.
And I've had a backup camera in my cars for a while now.
Right.
And I'm going to back up, and I'm looking into the dash, the middle of the dash.
There's no camera.
And I'm just waiting. I'm just like, when does this stupid camera come on?
And there's no camera.
There's no camera. I'm just like, seriously? I got to turn around?
So yeah, new habits, Jim. Different car, new habits.
Autopilot stuff, right? So
it is. But you just see how well that's ingrained in you.
Yeah.
And so that was the point, right? These autopilots are deep grooves. They're stuck there. So put your new habits with that, right? Yeah. If you check your email on your phone every day and you want to get a walk-in before work, and you're like, how do I do that? Because I can't get off this. Get a treadmill at your house and walk on it before you do that.
Texting and walking, because that's dangerous.
Right, but you could do it on a treadmill because you can stand your phone up right there or your iPad on the thing, and you can walk, and flip kind of thing, or you could voice text. You could voice. I'm just saying if you want to check your emails before work. I'm just trying to get in. People do all these things, but they want to do some healthier habits, and then they say, well, I don't have enough time. You usually do. It's just where are you prioritizing your time, and what can you pair it with that you normally do so it gets it in.
What nonsense can you cut out?
That's the other one.
Like the text, like, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. What are you gonna eat for dinner tonight? I don't know. I
rarely do those ones. I don't do those ones. They all have a purpose. Yeah.
Habits and rituals for sure. I mean, that's I base a lot of my day is based on habits and rituals. And if I get thrown off, it kind of sucks for me, because even last night we had an event here, and then it was 9:00, and I'm usually. Then I'm just like, 9:00, right? Like, that seems so late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I go to bed before 9. Not asleep. I'll usually watch some YouTube to learn something, right? Try to do some learning. Try to do at least an hour of learning a day.
It's good. Hour of learning. You don't do it in bed, though, do you?
Learning?
Like watching your YouTube?
Yep.
Oh, take that out of the bedroom.
Why is that?
Sorry.
Oh, no.
All the blue light. Hey, it tells your brain that it's time to stay
No, it's
awake.
all colored. I have a color screen.
No.
Blue light.
It's the light that's on is telling your brain it's time to stay awake. And that's the last message you want to give to your brain. You could audio listen, like shut off the picture.
It's been a habit of mine.
And listen. So then do it out in the living room.
Yeah.
I challenge you to try fixing that because I bet you will sleep deeper and you'll sleep more soundly. You'll get better quality sleep.
I do seem quite happy, though.
That's good.
Yeah. It seems like I can go to sleep like this now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
There you go. It's just a tip with light. It's we're programmed for our circadian rhythm to light tells us to wake up, dimming the lights in the evening. So if you're, if you have all your lights on in your house and it's evening, it's still giving your brain that message really hard, like stay awake, stay awake, stay awake. And so sometimes people have a really hard time winding down and falling asleep, and they're like, "Well, I was really tired. It was a long day."
I fall asleep pretty quick. And I usually what it is there's two things that work really well for me for golf. I mean for sleeping. One is golf, and the second one is just an ocean. I can actually picture myself standing on an ocean and watching the waves, and usually I'm out like right away. Or I'll replay the last golf game, and I usually only get past like hole 2, and I'm sleeping.
Shows you why I don't play golf, because it's not that exciting.
I think you just find things that work. That's all.
Yeah, you do find things that work. Yeah,
because things will work differently for different people.
They will work differently for different people. Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty stubborn on my habits. When you're saying change it, and I'm just like,
I don't wanna try it, Tanya. I don't wanna. And normally people are not going to change their habits if they don't feel there's a need to change them.
Yeah, I mean, I lead a pretty clean lifestyle. No smoking, drinking, whatever, vaping, whatever other things are.
It's great.
Clean.
Yeah, that's better than the average bear.
Ice cream. Yep.
Everybody has some treats sometimes. Remember we talked about that? Food fuels your body. It also fuels your soul. You can have both. You have to have a balance.
But it definitely is hard. I know that it's hard to add habits and rituals and like you're saying.
Well, it's hard if you don't have a plan. Yes.
Yeah, slowly is better.
That's right. So I challenge our audience, if you have some things that you've been trying to put in to your day, into your life, and they've been, hard for you, try pairing it with something that you normally do in the day and see how that's working for you.
Attach it to something
else. Make it at the same time.
Like the pool to the workout.
Like the pool to the workout. Like the, checking your emails on a treadmill. I sometimes do that at the gym. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to watch the mindless TV that's up there it's not teaching me anything. So I'll listen to a podcast, or maybe I'll answer a message, or I'll do something like that. Maybe when you take your dog for a walk and you really said, well, I really would like to listen to that audiobook. Okay, well, why don't we do that when we're watching walking the dog, or all of those kinds of things, right? I want to get in extra steps. Well, when I drive to the grocery store, maybe park at the back of the parking lot. I'm already driving to the grocery store. It's not really taking me any more time.
Yep.
So how can we put those things in to create a little bit extra healthy habits?
One of the things I've been doing for about 3 years now, for sure. I kind of wrote a book on it. It's on goals.
Okay.
I review my goals every day.
Cool.
And I go through them, and then I write the progress on those goals. And then some things are to-dos and some things are goals.
Okay.
And if I don't spend some time in that goal in the day or the week or whatever, then I ask myself, is that really a goal? Do I really want to do that? Because obviously I don't, right? Because if I'm not doing anything, and it's about questioning yourself, right? Because if your goal is, say your goal is to lose weight, which is a common goal for many people, especially as we age, right?
Yep.
And, part of that is obviously there's some tasks that go on and eat better, right? Like, eat whatever, stop eating garbage and
and swap a few things out.
And if you just ask yourself every day, okay, so I went to Tim Hortons this morning and I had a double and a cruller and an egg sandwich, and then for lunch I went to Starbucks and had the same thing, and then I went to McDonald's on the way home. Obviously that's not really that's
not
a real goal. Right?
At that moment it's somehow do we switch that so that
you got another problem.
There's
but you know what I mean? If you write it down and you look at it every day,
goals are powerful.
You start to see the patterns that you develop yourselves. And everybody has habits and rituals.
They do.
Some of them maybe just not.
They're not serving you exactly.
Want, right? And they're controlling you as opposed to you controlling them.
Bingo. Yes. I have my clients go through a 28-day transformational journal on their mindset. And they do a morning assessment and an evening reflection, which is much like what you're talking about with the goals, so that they can see the importance of that and dial it in on that mindset.
It's a really hard thing too, because I've given this book to so many people and they usually last a couple weeks. And then I say, how are you doing with that book? Yeah, I don't. I'm just like, it's basically so powerful and so simple.
Yeah.
So powerful and so simple.
I think people just have to have something that they can relate it to and add it to, and know that it's okay if you're not perfect every day. That's the thing. Sometimes people
just be honest with yourself. Why can't you be honest with yourself?
It's
you look at this. I ate at Tim Hortons and McDonald's and Starbucks today.
Yep.
I suck.
No, that's negative self-talk. That's not going to help anybody. The world is already no, I think
you might need a good tongue lashing that day
from yourself. The next meal is always an opportunity to make a better choice. You don't have to wait till Monday. You don't have to wait till next week to start. You don't have to you don't have to keep eating bad stuff all day long, eating things, I shouldn't say bad food, but eating things that you would rather not if you'd had your druthers, just because you thought you failed. It's never a failure. Like, think about it as no guilt, just data. You're not failing. It's a formulation of what you can do better.
For a lot of people, giving yourself feedback to some people, they would frown on. But again, it works for me. Like I'll talk to myself and say, listen.
I had a client that did that. She called me up and she said, Tania, I've given myself a stern talking to, and I'm ready to do X, Y, Z. I was like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. But sometimes it takes a little bit of a life event.
If you spiral in that stuff and get worse and worse of it, or you just give yourself a, hey, smarten up, and then you go, you move forward from it, right? So you just have to detach yourself from dwelling on it too.
Yes, without, I say, people go, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Pretty soon you're shitting all over yourself. Stop doing that.
Or you're just like, no more McDonald's as you're at the drive-thru. Okay, I'm gonna take
water, please. just water. And, then you can just swap your order. No, that's not me. Wrong drive-thru. Sorry, I just took the wrong turn. And then keep going.
As much as I don't like McDonald's, I don't think it's good for you. That's my personal opinion.
It's not good for you. That's my personal opinion.
I do go there every now and then.
Do you?
Because it's like a magnet. Every now and then you have to remember.
Why you don't eat it?
I don't know.
So you eat it so that you'll feel bad, so that you remind yourself that why you don't eat it? Is that kind of what you do?
Apparently.
Okay. Maybe you do that. Let's do a little behavior analogy here, Jim. So maybe you're doing that on a day, maybe when you for not feeling good about yourself, and you're kind of like shitting on yourself.
No, I think I talk myself into it. Like if I'm hungry, like really hungry, I got no time, and I'm just like, and it seems to be right there. Like it just calls out to you, the golden arches.
Right.
One that I do like, I will go to, even no matter what kind of mood I'm in, In-N-Out Burger.
My husband likes the In-N-Out Burger too. Well, they say it's the best, but I don't know. There's been reports, and this is not a long enough show to do that. There's way too many things, and we've given the Golden Arches way too much press time today, in my opinion. Right? Like, holy cow! Go watch the Super Size Me movie.
Super Size Me movie.
Super Size Me 2.
It's a Ray Kroc movie too.
Yes.
Yeah, but back seriously though, good habits, if you can form them.
Yes. And you can. Everybody can.
That is the magic for you. Because I was 50 pounds heavier. I shouldn't pound on the desk. That's a habit that I need to get rid of. Because it sounds bad on the microphones. And it was through a lifestyle change, not dieting.
Yeah.
That made the difference, right?
Yep. So. And you don't have to be perfect to get good results. You just have to be consistent.
And I'm still seeing transformation.
Yeah, you will.
Because it is a long process that just takes commitment, right? Because people some people just like, I worked out like 2 weeks now. I see nothing.
Yes.
And that's
they have to realize it didn't take them overnight. Sorry if I hit the mic. It didn't take them overnight to get to where they were. So it's going to take at least that long. And here's a little metric. If people think, well, how long? Because people want to know how long, right? Okay. Think 1 month per decade of your year of age. If you're starting from square one, and you want to make significant changes, it's probably going to take you at least a month for every decade for every year.
So that's going to take me 12 months. I'm bad at math too.
You're bad at math, right? I know.
I heard that somebody said that.
Somebody did. I don't know. How is an accountant bad at math? I don't even know. That's your background, right? Accounting, and a whole bunch of math things. No. So so I'm 56. So then I should bank on 5.5 months ish. If I were starting from square one to see some significant changes. That doesn't mean you won't see a whole bunch of little changes at first. Absolutely. You'll start noticing a whole bunch of things. But for things to stick and to notice long-term change, don't expect things to happen overnight.
I would say for people, if you want to be honest with yourself, is take photos of yourself. Like, in your underwear or whatever, so that you can see. And then take them over stages, right? Because you don't see the changes so much when you're seeing yourself on a day-to-day basis, right? Because it's just gradually changing. It's like a flower blooming, right? You don't.
It's really. That's a really great analogy.
Because if you're watching a flower bloom, you don't really see it, right?
No.
But if you take a picture when it's a bud and you take a picture when it's bloomed, you're just like, holy cow.
Yeah, it's like entirely different.
And
so
take those photos.
Take them. Even if you just take your face, you can see an entirely different. Even if you do that, because some people are just really.
I had pretty good jowls going.
Yeah. Well, people do, right? It depends where you're carrying it and all that kind of stuff. But you can also even see in the person's skin and in the look in their eyes. Maybe they were really sad looking. Maybe they were really defeated looking and really had a lack of energy about them. And then they start doing some things and they feel so energetic and they feel so much happier. You can literally see the change in their face. I see that with my clients all the time. They start. And as we go, we get on a Zoom call and all of a sudden their face is entirely different. And that's all I ever see of them.
Yeah. So I just think like finding something that gives you zen, whether that's walking your dog, playing golf, hiking, biking, an activity would be great.
Yeah, an activity is great that you can get up and do intentional movement every day is great.
Going to the pool.
Going to the pool. Yeah, we're heading into, you can go to the lake pretty soon.
There's a pretty big pool out there.
There is. Pretty soon people will be in the lake.
But that pool at H2O is like that is stellar.
Yeah. It is a very, very nice pool. So if you're close to it and you like water, that would be some place that you could go. You can get a lot of benefit from that.
They even have a river there.
I know. That's the fun part. Kids love that. My kids used to love that when they were little, right? Floating down that thing.
Nothing like water.
The slides. Yeah, for sure.
Anything else you want to hit on today?
I think we covered everything, right? Yeah,
we
just
did.
a little
so,
review.
If you've got a habit and ritual
1%.
that you've started and you got a question about it,
send us a message.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear about it. We'd like to hear about your successes too. So if you're going to take that challenge and pair something that you want to do with something that you are currently doing, give it a couple of weeks and then give us a little message. I'd love to hear how that's working for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching Kelowna Now.